Story 1. Learn to see how you are contributing to a problem instead of always blaming someone else. My relationships would have gone a lot better if I had learned this earlier. Story 2. Companies are not family. Do not expect equal value from your boss or employer in exchange for your loyalty and sacrifice. Story 3. Putting cocoa mix in with the coffee in the basket of your coffee maker will not make a chocolate coffee. The cocoa will plug the holes in the coffee filter, causing the basket to overflow and create a mess. You will have wasted both coffee and chocolate, which is unfortunate and will make you feel bad. Story 4. Before sending an angry or hurtful email or text, sleep on it for a night before hitting send. Story 5. On road trips, there are always 50 gas stations along the way when you do not need them, but they are 50 miles apart when you need one. Fill up before you need to. Story 6. Be financially independent. I wasted so much time, energy, and money on boyfriends. I should have invested in myself and saved money. You need to be able to completely survive on your own, so focus on your career and becoming financially independent. If you can find a healthy and balanced relationship, then that is great, but I strongly suggest you make financial independence your #1 priority. I am turning 58 years old on Monday, and this is my greatest regret. Story 7. Always striving to be the bigger and wiser person. Not saying to be a doormat, but striving to see through rifts and work toward a common resolution. Being resentful is unproductive. Story 8. Do not ignore warning signs in your relationship. You cannot change your partner, and the situation often worsens. Story 9. Someone who routinely tells white lies tells big lies too. In fact, people who lie about things that do not need to be lied about do so as a lifestyle choice. Do not write off the little lies in close relationships. Story 10. You can love and adore people all you want, but you cannot make them love you back. Do not spend your life choosing people who do not choose you. Story 11. Do not be afraid to cut toxic people out of your life. Life is too short for negativity. Story 12. Rarely have I regretted leaving a situation, but I have often regretted staying in one. Story 13. Take care of your mental health and do not be afraid to seek professional help. Therapy is for everyone. We may think we are strong, but untreated problems can and will become worse later in life. When you have that internal peace, the world becomes a much more beautiful place. Story 14. Do not spend as if there is no tomorrow. Tomorrow will come, and it will not be pleasant. Story 15. Do not ignore things like debts, bills you cannot pay, fines, and so on. They will just pile up. Sort them out as soon as you receive them. Story 16. Have a sense of your own self-worth and do not let anyone convince you otherwise. Story 17. Never have children with someone you do not want in your life permanently. Story 18. When push comes to shove, most people cannot be trusted to have anyone's back. When things are easy, they will be good friends, say they are willing to help, and appear generous and selfless. But when real difficulties arise beyond your control, they abandon you. Much of the talk is just virtue signaling. Observe people's actions, not their words, even with family and close friends. Story 19. Do not let anyone else drive or borrow your automobile under any circumstances. Story 20. Just because you have a lot of credit does not mean you should use all of it. Story 21. People are extremely visual creatures. If you craft an image and do not give people a reason not to believe it, they will likely believe it indefinitely. The same thing is happening to you. People make you think they are who they want you to think they are. Story 22. If someone does not value themselves, they will not value you. Story 23. If you do not want to be like them, do not be in a romantic relationship with them. Save money. Do not gamble with yourself, money, or relationships. Story 24. A good way to stop reacting to things, whether it be getting angry or being triggered into using an addiction, is to first acknowledge the trigger and sit with the tension. Feel the impulse to act and ask yourself, is there an actual reason to take part in this? What is so bad about this valley of tension I am in? Does it have value? Is it good or bad? Or does it just exist? Then look. For the cause that usually prompts your action. Is there a physical sensation in your body? Or is it just a thought? You will probably find that the only thing causing your reaction is a thought, which has no substance, cannot push you to act. It is like smoke. Practicing this approach has helped me recover from a difficult period in my life. Meditation also helps in recognizing these thoughts. Story 25. If an agreement is not in writing, it does not truly exist. It only exists until it is no longer convenient for one of the parties. If an agreement is in writing, understand it fully. Story 26. Many emotional needs that you believe must be met by other people can actually be better fulfilled by yourself. For the needs that others can meet, you need to communicate them clearly rather than expecting them to know intuitively. Story 27. Do not choose friends or partners based on whether you like the same movies and music, find them funny, or enjoy partying with them. Choose them based on whether your deeper values align. The other factors are just a bonus. Story 28. Unless it is like a house, a car, or an education, if you cannot afford it twice, you cannot afford it. It is a tough one because you have finally got just enough money for that thing you really want. But buying it will drain the bank, and that will have knock-on effects. Suddenly, you are missing a bill payment because you forgot that one bill comes out earlier than the rest, and now you are getting slapped with a late fee as well. Also, if you go out drinking, take a set amount of money, and once you have spent it, stop. It is easy to go from a fun night out for £50 to suddenly blowing £200 or more and not remembering a single thing. The more drunk you are, the more likely you are to want to stay out and keep drinking and spend even more. Do not do it. Just set yourself a limit and stop when it is done. You will actually have much more fun that way too. Also, do not buy rounds. When you are 5 or more people, people leave. It is never just one person leaving. When one leaves, more usually follow. They have had a free or cheaper night, and you have spent more than you planned. Story 29. Some relationships, such as family, friends, and significant others, have end dates. Trying to keep people in your life who do not want to be there anymore or cannot be there anymore is a losing game. You need to accept that they are gone. Cherish the good memories and lessons, and then look forward and move on. Story 30. Someone who hits you or cheats on you once will do it again. Story 31. If you think you are an alcoholic, you probably are. Stop drinking now. I learned that lesson after 35 years of convincing myself I just like to drink a lot. Story 32. Narcissists. How to identify them and prevent them from getting close. Story 33. Once your partner becomes violent, there is no way back. It will gradually get worse. Just leave. Story 34. Do not date potential. Date who this person is and where he or she is. Story 35. Let people break their own toys. Respect other people's belongings and know your limitations when using them. Story 36. Meet your protein goals daily. Many people do not, resulting in slow muscle loss or wondering why they cannot build muscle. They may also experience frequent injuries. Story 37. Do not live for long in uncertainty. I spent too many years of my life not knowing where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do, and who I wanted around. Life does not pause while you figure all that out. It decides for you. Story 38. If they truly like you, they will make time, not excuses. Story 39. Do not smoke. Do not drink alcohol. Eat healthy. This body is the only one you have, so take good care of it. Prevention is better than cure. Story 40. Do not try methamphetamine. Especially do not try intravenous use. Glad to be sober. May 8, 2020. Story 41. Time is the most valuable thing in life. You cannot get it back and you cannot make more. Make sure the people you choose to spend time with deserve it. Story 42. You are not indestructible. Even in your teens and 20s, drugs, sleep deprivation, alcohol, or a prolonged unhealthy diet will harm you in the long run. Story 43. You are not obligated to maintain contact with friends who are mean or cruel. Regardless of how long you have been friends with them, you will find other, better friends. Story 44. Nothing, and I really mean nothing, good happens after midnight. You are not missing out on much. Forget fear of missing out and relax. Story 45. Do not enter a relationship with someone you do not feel right with from the very beginning. Cost me 3 years and $25,000. Story 46. They will cheat again. Do not be kind about it. Do not hold on to them because of it. Do not blame yourself. Do not try to be understanding about it. Get out. Story 47. Do not waste time fretting and fantasizing. If only I had, fill in the blank, whether related to love life, a job, an argument, or whatever, just learn the lesson, move on, and do not look back. Story 48. Sleep on it. Wait at least 24 hours before putting any plan into action. Story 49. Just because someone is rude in their reactions or delivery of criticism does not mean it is not true. I have made very positive changes for myself because I stepped back and asked why someone was such a rude person with their critique. I realized it was a valid critique and something I should work on, but that the person might just be difficult. However, that can be a valid difficult person. Story 50. If you have to convince someone to love you, walk away. It is not worth it. Story 51. No one needs to know that you are making or have made a lot of money. This includes family. Story 52. When you see obvious issues in a relationship, do not justify them. Realize that you either address them with the person, ignore them and they get worse, or just move on if it is something the other person refuses to talk about. Story 53. Never spend money you have not received yet. I have seen many people spend their expected bonuses or money someone says they will pay them, and it never arrives, so they end up in debt. Story 54. Know your truth. Stop trying to change yourself solely to conform or please others. It is not just black and white, but there is a lot of gray area. I wish I had known this in high school. Story 55. Trust your intuition. Sometimes your intuition knows something that you do not consciously know. Ignoring it will lead to undesired outcomes. Story 56. It is better to regret something you have done than to regret something you have not done out of fear or discomfort. Do not be afraid to be afraid. Go on that trip. Chase your passions even if they are not practical. Explore unknown territory because one day you might wake up at 35 or 50 years old, living in the same small town, and every dream you ever had of venturing into the world will have vanished because you wasted your life sticking with what was familiar and comfortable. Story 57. Do not accept someone calling you bad names, gaslighting you, mental or controlling abuse, or physical abuse. All are toxic and harmful to you. Run away and never let them continue. Story 58. You cannot be good for other people if you are not good to yourself. Story 59. Save your money. You cannot save people. Pay attention to the first red flag, and no, it does not get better. Story 60. If you lose your job, apply for unemployment benefits, and if it is denied, always appeal. I have received benefits 3 times after initial denials because the burden of proof shifts from you to the employer. Also, if your unemployment benefits run out, do not rely on credit cards. I did this and my credit was damaged for over 8 years, which was very difficult. Find a job, any job, no matter how undesirable, so that you have at least some income. Story 61. I tell my daughters that the feeling of love is a mixture of emotions. The most important aspect of it is respect. Whoever they date or marry needs to respect them above all. Love will follow. Story 62. Do not give people second chances and do not take drugs. That way you will have far more time to enjoy life. Story 63. Do not stay in a toxic, abusive relationship for the children or for any reason. You will not fix them, they will not change, and you might end up in the morgue. Story 64. If someone is driving recklessly, keep as much distance from them as possible and do not engage with them. Story 65. Do not drink alcohol. Nothing good ever comes from it. The world is a much better place when decisions are not made under the influence of alcohol. We use alcohol to sterilize things and kill bacteria. The feeling of a buzz is your body's rejection of it. Explore the effects of psychedelics at least once in your life. Story 66. Not all friends are true friends. Some can be worse than your worst enemy. Story 67. Be extremely careful with the person you choose to marry. Divorce rates are far too high. Men often face significant challenges and end up divorced. Have a prenuptial agreement for sure. Story 68. Your competence does not guarantee a higher paying position. Most adults I have worked with who are at the top of their field are imposters. They are simply good with people and know the right connections. Story 69. Always say, "I love you" when saying goodbye to your loved ones. Those might be the last words you will ever get to say to them. Story 70. Do not touch the header on a motorcycle that has been recently running, no matter how attractive the colors are. Story 71. Juice's Comprehensive Guide to Abusive Breakups. 1. Form a plan first. Things to include in your plan. A. Where you'll go if you are living in their space. This can be a friend's house, your parents' or relatives' home, or a new apartment. Plan with this person in person. Let them know how urgent this situation is and how much their discretion means. They should not contact your abuser and should be fully aware of how dangerous this person is to both you and them if angered. If you're kicking them out, CD. B. Where your money is coming from. If you don't have a job, try to find one. If you do, warn your employer about the upcoming breakup. Your abuser may try to start something or contact your workplace to see if you're there. Let your employer and any coworkers you trust know they should not give out your whereabouts. C. Who your support system will be. Tell close friends, only yours, no mutual friends at this stage, and family what's happening. Let them know you'll need emotional support in the coming months. D. How much legal support you will need. This can include a police escort to retrieve your belongings, a lawyer for divorce, a restraining order, or other legal help. It might also mean nothing. Research at the library or using a computer your abuser cannot access. Note, if you are forcing your abuser to leave your home, get a restraining order. It's a simple, non-invasive legal document that prevents them from contacting you or entering your space. Courts grant restraining orders readily and rarely overturn them. It won't harm your abuser but may save your life. E. What belongings you're entitled to. Determine which items are yours, which are shared, and which belong to your abuser. Before the breakup, try to move your valuables to a safe location. 2. Break up in whichever way feels safest. It is generally considered rude to break up remotely, but you may not have the luxury of being polite. Breaking up electronically and then blocking your abuser is often safest because in person they have many abusive tactics to regain control. Remote breakups are best. In many situations, it is also acceptable to ghost the person. If you have nothing of theirs, simply disappear to reduce their opportunities to manipulate you. 3. Document everything. Record, screenshot, videotape every part of the process and the abuse leading up to it. Create a secure file to keep evidence for potential legal action or to explain the situation to mutual friends later. Do not instigate incidents to create evidence. If you cannot move valuables to a safe space, document their condition before the breakup in case of damage. 4. Be ready for the extinction burst. An abuser losing control will try anything to regain power. This can include familiar abusive tactics and other forms you may not recognize, such as blackmail, gaslighting, interfering with your relationships, physical or coded threats, property destruction, breaking and entering, and more. Do not underestimate your abuser. If you fear they will do something, they likely will. Abusers know you better than anyone and will use any manipulation necessary. Treat every interaction as potentially hostile and maintain vigilance. 5. Be prepared to lose people. Some mutual friends will take the abuser's side. Others may try to stay neutral but react toxically. Some friends might cut both of you off because they are unsure who is right. Do not hesitate to go on the offensive. Your abuser hurt you. Do not worry about saving face by taking the high road. Show evidence if questioned. If they don't believe you, that is their issue. People who do not support you after everything are not good people and not necessary in your life. 6. Get help. You are experiencing trauma that will leave a mark. Seek therapy as soon as possible. If you cannot afford one-on-one therapy, find group sessions. One-on-one therapy is best. You are not alone. There are people who care even online. Reach out if you need someone to talk to. Story 72. No one is the villain in their own story. This perspective helped me reframe how I think about others. Instead of venting and getting angry every time someone did something that seemed malicious, I can sit back and analyze the issue. Most times, though not always, it is ignorance or a lack of foresight and consideration rather than a deliberate malicious act. Story 73. It is not a child's fault that their parents fail. I found out that my oldest child is not biologically related to me, and their mother knew the whole time. This is not the fault of my child. Not a single negative thought crossed my mind during that entire moment. Story 74. If you are in a relationship, keep your personal matters private. You can make amends with your partner, but your friends and family will not. Story 75. Value your loved ones. Express your love and be kind to them. Story 76. Take care of your teeth. I wish I could time travel and slap some sense into my younger self. Costs thousands to fix that mess. Story 77. Men do not always step up when you have a baby. Sometimes they expect you to do everything yourself because you are the mother. Story 78. Take care of your body, health, and teeth. When problems start to arise, they compound quickly. Story 79. The car dealership service department is not really a garage. It is an extension of the dealership's finance department. It exists to generate more revenue from you. Get your own mechanic. Story 80. When a nurse calls you and tells you they think you should come in and visit your loved one, do it right away. Drop everything and go see them. I got that call and I did not go. I did not go and she died. And I never saw her beautiful face again. It was not my day to visit, and I did not want to upset her. I miss her so much. Story 81. When he tells you he is not ready for a relationship, move on. Story 82. You cannot save someone from themselves. I have watched multiple friends and family members ruin themselves with poor decision-making. I have seen people I loved descend into self-destructive spirals of addiction, financial problems, and cycles of abuse. I pushed myself to sickness trying to help them. I told myself over and over again, this time they will listen. This time the experience will knock some sense into them. It never does. I am not saying be heartless. I am not saying do not care. Be there for the people you love, but remember that until they are ready to admit they have a problem, there is very little you can do. Story 83. Life can actually be worse. This is not just a statement or meant to induce fear, but a literal truth. You can suddenly experience a downturn in life that is completely out of your control. If you survive it, you will look back and think, what the actual? Life can be worse than you can imagine. So, count your blessings every single day and always act from a place of gratitude and humility. Story 84. Do not do something if you do not want to. It always goes badly. Just say no. Not for me. Story 85. You cannot fix other people. They have to do it themselves. Story 86. Do not lie to your parents because more often than not, they already know the truth. Story 87. In my teenage years, I quit jobs like it was a trend but quickly got burnt out. I didn't think about the future when my resume had a new job every year, and I had difficulty explaining that to employers during interviews. I would quit on the spot, not give 2 or more weeks' notice, and did not have a backup plan. This left me with financial hardships and a lot of free time, during which I hung out with random people because all of my friends had jobs. That is a lesson on its own because I almost got a felony from being around a bad crowd for less than 3 days. Do yourself a favor and always keep your future in mind. Don't give in to temptations just because the high road is difficult at the moment. Story 88. The American dream is dead. You cannot work hard to get ahead, receive promotions, or earn raises. Instead, you will be taken advantage of and kept at poverty wages until you quit. Story 89. If they are going to be mad anyway, just do whatever makes you happy. Sometimes you work hard to compromise with difficult family members, and they still end up mad because they want to be mad at you, not because they didn't get their way or because they did. If you find yourself constantly trying to find a happy middle or giving the difficult family member what they want, and they still cause drama or pitch a fit. Do what makes you happy. If you continue to subject yourself to their behavior, you might as well do what you want and get what you want out of it. Story 90. No one is going to save you. It generally takes 100 days of practice to master something, but you have to put in the work. That may include isolation. Story 91. Stay in school. Do not use drugs. Drink in moderation, and avoid getting anyone pregnant until you are ready or at least 25 years old. Story 92. Trying to get answers from someone who does not want to give them to you will drive you insane. If you ask a straightforward question and receive riddles in response, and you decide to continue, you will end up feeling like a crazy person. Besides, you already know the answer in your gut. Story 93. Compound interest and think carefully about who you marry. Story 94. You can do everything right, working hard, and still fail. The real test is getting back up after you have been beaten down by the experience, learning from it, and trying again. Failing more often is better for your growth and education than constant success. Story 95. When people show you who they are, believe them. People can definitely change different aspects of themselves as they grow older, but not the major things that define who they are as a person. The core of who they are, especially their character and values, does not really change once it has been built over the years. You do not suddenly become a kind or thoughtful person. You do not suddenly turn callous or unkind. That gets built over time. Those red flags or bad traits that might reveal themselves have likely always been there, but your fondness for them likely led you to ignore or brush them off. Even if you value a friendship or relationship highly, it might not always be the same from the other side. Story 96. Don't marry until you have seen that person upset or angry, or when they are not at their best. For the love of God, if someone shows you who they are the first time, believe them. Story 97. Do not get married just because it is the next step to take. Story 98. Having adult children is really hard. You have to let them learn from their mistakes. Story 99. If someone cheats once, they are likely to cheat again, regardless of how kind and forgiving you are. End the relationship immediately. Story 100. Age does not matter. In fact, men who pursue relationships with girls who could be their daughters or even granddaughters are among the worst. Story 101. Being a people pleaser and bending over backward for everyone only hurts you. Learn how to stand up for yourself and say no. Story 102. If you are not willing to do it every time, do not do it the first time. Exceptions become expectations. Story 103. Brush your teeth, especially if you are young or feeling depressed. Floss as well. Story 104. Your spouse having a close friend of the opposite gender is a bad idea, regardless of how trustworthy you believe the people involved to be. Story 105. Not everyone will like you. Get over it. You will always be the villain in other people's stories. Live for yourself and do your best to find happiness in the small things in life. Story 106. Do not ignore warning signs in people or situations. Your intuition is usually correct. Story 107. Your employer will post the help wanted advertisement before they send flowers to your family. Wear sunscreen and do not sunbathe. The sun is important because it grows food and kills harmful bacteria, but it is not worth the risk of skin cancer. Story 108. Being boundaryless in a relationship will destroy the relationship. If the person does not respect you, leave. Story 109. Listen to your family when they advise you not to buy a new car at a young age. Also, always be careful about trusting coworkers too much. Story 110. Pay yourself first by saving, then pay your taxes, and then get on with life. Being broke without a safety net and owing the government money was the worst stress of my life. Now that I have crawled out of that hole and am debt-free, I sleep at night and my future looks great. But that panic still lives with me, and I watch my dollars very closely and still hold my breath when I open government mail in a brown envelope. Story 111. Never compromise on shoes. Cheap shoes have led to many foot issues. Story 112. Lift with your legs. You truly do not understand how much back pain will ruin your life until it happens to you. It does not heal anywhere near as fast as any other kind of comparable injury and has a high risk of re-injury. I just lost 6 weeks stuck in bed. I used to work out every single day, have lost a lot of progress, and have still not fully recovered. Story 113. Watch for signs of future abuse. Never believe them when they say it is a one-time occurrence. Leave at the very first sign of disrespect. More than 10 years gone. It is not worth it. Story 114. Do not ignore a swollen testicle or attribute it to a minor injury. See a doctor. Men should regularly check for lumps or bumps and seek medical advice if something is unusual. Check yourself regularly. Story 115. I took out too much debt 15 years ago for a college degree that adults told me would be fine. It is not. Then I chose not to invest in a retirement savings plan because I put everything I could into paying off debt. I paid off about $60,000 in debt, and my financial situation is still awful. I am now 10 years behind on saving for retirement and still owe $62,000 that I cannot afford because I am in a career that essentially died financially during the pandemic. 1. Do not trust anyone who advises you to take out tens of thousands of dollars in their favor. 2. Even just 1% a year, put something in your retirement savings plan as early as possible. Story 116. Drugs feel good and alcohol feels good at first, but if you overdo it, you will not realize it until it is too late. Be careful and save it for special occasions. Story 117. Just because you can do something does not mean you should. That applies to almost any situation in life. Story 118. Dealing drugs generally is not worth it in the long run. The time you spend incarcerated offsets the money and enjoyment you get from selling drugs. It is easier to get caught than you think. Informing on others is common. Someone may get caught for simple possession and face probation, then set you up to receive a lengthy prison sentence to reduce their own charge. Story 119. Not every relationship is fixable or every issue solvable. Sometimes it is okay to just leave. Story 120. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I cannot put the blame on you. Story 121. A friend to all is a friend to none. If family or friends excuse the behavior of people who have hurt you or others, it is time to reevaluate that relationship. I have heard too many people say, well, they have not hurt me, as if that makes it okay. Story 122. Everyone you interact with is not your friend or potential friend. Story 123. Do not try to save someone who will not save themselves. No matter how much you love them, all you will do is drown. Story 124. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. I ignored a few big red flags and got taken advantage of more than once. If you are lonely, it is better to be alone than with a bad partner. You will end up that way anyway once you have had enough. How much love, time, and money can you part with? Story 125. Be careful who you call your friend. Family does not have to be blood. If you do not smoke, do not start. Story 126. Do not think you can change your partner. You cannot, they will not, and you will waste too many years trying. Story 127. Just because they are family does not mean they automatically get to be a part of your life. Toxic people are toxic, family or not. Get rid of them. Story 128. Get to know your partner's family thoroughly before you get married. It will take a while, maybe a few years. However, you will never regret the effort. Story 129. People are awful to others because of their own self-esteem. I used to think this was just a cliché, but it is very true. Story 130. Your emergency is not my emergency. Also, half the time it is not even an emergency. This does not apply in an accident situation. Of course, I help there. It means sometimes when people demand immediate action from you and they are really upset, they have not even done the work themselves yet. Do not get anxious and just help. Ask questions before changing your day. Story 131. Your current girlfriend or boyfriend probably is not and will not be the love of your life. Story 132. Expectations are premeditated resentments. You can control no one or nothing but yourself. When you try to control others, you will be disappointed. Story 133. If a woman tells you not to date her because she is crazy, believe her. Story 134. How people treat you is a reflection of them, not what you deserve or your worthiness. Story 135. Stay in shape. You don't need to be a gym enthusiast. Do some cardio. Walking is fine. Get a kettlebell and do a quick 20-minute routine daily. There are plenty of routines available online. Eat properly. You don't need to be fanatical about it, but don't make every day a cheat day. This will help prevent diabetes, high blood pressure, and other health issues. It doesn't take much to start these habits. It is very difficult to adopt them later in life when you have to play catch-up. Story 136. Always keep the receipts for high-value purchases. You never know when a company will go bankrupt after selling you a defective product. Story 137. Do not trust the new technology file system to keep your data intact. Build a server and use the zettabyte file system if you are storing anything over a terabyte of data you value. Also, do not reuse hard drives when you upgrade them. Keep them as a snapshot backup so if you do not notice a file has gone corrupted, you can go back and find a valid copy. The zettabyte file system should mitigate this, but it is always nice to have previous versions of files. Story 138. I have emphasized to my children not to put anything in writing that they would not want everyone, including their grandmothers, to read. Mistakes happen, people share secrets, and information gets out. Story 139. Do not rent a storage unit. You will end up paying rent on it for 20 years and then throw away everything you were storing. Story 140. Not everyone will like you. Some might even dislike you, and that is okay. Story 141. In business, you cannot trust anyone, not even your family. Do not be paranoid, just keep your eyes open. When it comes to money, many people can lose all dignity. Protect yourself with written contracts and see everything as a deal between strangers. Trust no one. Story 142. I would say that it is not always a good sign if you never fight with your partner. If you have small issues, communicate them while they are small. Story 143. Love is not always enough. People think that if there is love in a relationship, they can work through any problem. Unfortunately, that is not the case. You can love someone but be completely incompatible with them in such a way that your lives are better apart than together. It is difficult and hurtful, but it is an unfortunate reality of some relationships. Story 144. No means no. For context, this was taught to me at work. It was my boss saying I had to be extra careful spending company money at certain times. Long story short, my 20-something punk self fought this for a long time. After numerous difficult phone calls with my boss, I learned that like anything else in life you sometimes have to approach a situation like a game or a math problem. Work with the situation, not against it. This was essentially a lesson in being fiscally responsible. It has bled into my personal finances in a very good way. Simply put, if the money isn't there, you simply can't spend no matter what you want. Anyway, this is my version of no means no. Story 145. Do not let people walk all over you or ignore your autonomy because they are your in-laws or family. You do not have to go along with all their plans and ideas and keep your mouth shut just because they are family. Your priority is your spouse, children, and yourself. You do not need to allow someone else to walk all over you. Story 146. Do not make permanent decisions about your life before the age of 25. Grow up first. Story 147. You cannot help people who do not want help. You will only get hurt in the process. Story 148. Use ladders properly so you do not have a double compound fracture. Do not injure your bone marrow and never walk the same way twice. I would not recommend that to anyone. 2 years is the expected recovery time frame. Story 149. Testimonies are the best blessings. The burden and battles belong to God. Watch him move. Story 150. Your parents will die one day, so even if they say terrible things or do things that hurt you sometimes, it is worth biting your tongue and showing them kindness. Story 151. Wear your backpack on both shoulders. Do not use a book bag. Scoliosis is challenging. Story 152. Do not neglect your health. Once it deteriorates, it is very hard to restore. Story 153. Hard work does not pay off. Loyalty also means nothing to corporations. Story 154. Just because they are family does not mean you have to tolerate their toxic behavior. Story 155. You cannot rush experience. People are often very ignorant, especially the loud ones. There are many things that we do not know that we do not know. Story 156. Money can only be spent once. Choose carefully because once it is gone, it is gone. Story 157. A combination of, if you love something, let it go. Enjoy the moment to the fullest and take every day as an opportunity to make the most of it because tomorrow is not certain. Story 158. Being kind to people makes your life much easier. It does not make you weak. Story 159. Don't try methamphetamine. Not even once. I lost 10 years of my life. I am one of the rare lucky ones who made it out. I have been to several friends' funerals because they never quit. Most of them killed themselves. Please just don't. Story 160. The most important lesson I have learned is to never take things for granted and to appreciate the little things. Story 161. You only live once. As a young man, I thought this meant always go for it. As an older man, I realized there is only one chance to do things right. There are no redos, and you should proceed with a balance of optimism and caution in life. Story 162. At the end, it does not matter. You only live once. Enjoy the present and stop caring about the future. Story 163. I had difficult jobs after difficult jobs from 2014 after losing a career related to my field of study. I made mistakes, and my boss disliked me until he was able to make me redundant. It was virtually impossible to get back into the industry due to competition. Some of the jobs I had to force myself to go to so we had money in the bank. I got dangerously close to becoming an alcoholic and had to see a psychologist for help. I got a lucky break at the end of 2021 when I got a job in local government, which was life-changing. It was unfamiliar for me to be treated with respect. I met a girl in her early 20s who did not seem to care about working there and wanted to leave. I just wanted her to realize what an opportunity she had at such a young age. Story 164. Do not make major life decisions too soon after processing something significant. Give yourself time to let the dust settle before taking any action. Story 165. For women, violence and lack of safety will most likely occur at home from a male partner or relative. Be independent, go outside, seek adventures, and have new experiences. Story 166. If everyone you know in life says, "Hey, don't do drugs," or something along those lines, there is a reason why everyone says it. Story 167. Most of my problems are my fault, not other people's. Story 168. Went to therapy for this issue. Treat the mentally ill like they are mentally ill. I had my first panic attack because I was mentally abused by my bipolar mother-in-law and sister-in-law. I realized they are miserable people that I will never be able to please. Instead of trying to reason with them, I keep my distance and play yellow rock. Story 169. Sorry, I have another one. My dad told me this years ago, and I have never found it to be wrong. He told me everything is politics. So true, Dad. I love and miss you. Story 170. If you have a gut feeling you are being cheated on, you are most likely right. Your intuition is trying to guide you. Story 171. If someone tells you that they are incapable of feeling empathy, cut ties with them. Lack of empathy is a narcissistic trait, and believe me when I say that you do not want those kinds of people in your life. Story 172. If you are in line for a good-paying job through the family business, just take it, please. Story 173. Do not join the military. I am the moderator of the subreddit Regret Joining. Go there and read my story. Story 174. You should not trust people just because they say they love you. People are self-serving and will destroy your life if there is something to be gained for them. It does not matter how well you think you know them. If you are in the way of something they want, you will be collateral damage. Story 175. Do not work with people who are shorter than you at a job where you do physical labor. If you are tall, your life will become very difficult bending over awkwardly. Everything is made for short people. I became disabled for my entire 20s because of it. Story 176. Get used to being alone and enjoy the solitude. Your partner, family, and friends could turn on you at any time. Story 177. Men in heterosexual relationships with children. Do your equal share of household tasks and childcare even if you have valid reasons that make it difficult, and even if you are working and your partner is a stay-at-home mother. Just do it. The cost in terms of long-term resentment and emotional hurt is not worth resisting, so get it figured out. Story 178. If you are desperate for love or friendship, you may attach yourself to the first person who shows you attention, making you vulnerable to unkind individuals. Story 179. Environmental due diligence takes longer than a week. Please hire a consultant before the last minute. Story 180. That people really will not reciprocate. This cost me the diploma grade from high school. Story 181. Please walk against vehicle traffic, especially on roads without sidewalks. Story 182. No one knows what is best for you except you. Children need to understand this fact until they can support themselves. Story 183. No matter how much water you normally drink, do not go multiple days without drinking plain water. I am in agony. Story 184. Just do your homework. Seriously, just accept it, spend the 2 hours, and get it done. Children who complete their work receive special opportunities. Special opportunities lead to connections and experience that build upon themselves. These continued connections and experiences will help you later in life and make you stand out against the competition of your peers. Story 185. You are more resilient than you think. Even though there are many things you cannot control, you absolutely can control yourself. Story 186. Credit cards are a useful tool but can easily become your biggest nightmare if you are not careful. Story 187. Most situations and people are not black and white or simply good or evil. Almost everything and everyone exists in shades of gray. Story 188. Do not cut chilies for curry and then touch sensitive areas. Causes a severe burning sensation. Story 189. Options are only valuable if you have insider information. Acting on insider information is illegal for the retail investor. Story 191. Start saving young with a 401k and Roth individual retirement account. 2. Do not drink and drive. 3. Exercise regularly and maintain a healthy diet. I did not learn the hard way for all of these, but I saw those close to me deal with the consequences. Story 191. If you are going to use psychedelic substances, wait at least 3 months between experiences. Otherwise, you may end up in a psychiatric ward as I did. Story 192. Escaping tough challenges by using chemicals, distractions, or similar methods will not help build perseverance, which is a cornerstone of character and ultimately hope. Story 193. I unfortunately caught a driving while intoxicated in 2019. I could share some wisdom on what that is like for anyone going through it for the first time. If you hurt someone else, though, I cannot and do not want to talk to you. I did not, I could have, but I cannot relate. Story 194. Do not take advice from someone unless you admire their life. Story 195. Use your insurance. If your insurance provides free benefits, such as massages or 10 occupational therapy sessions per year, use them fully. Story 196. Be much more careful when choosing your business partner than when choosing your spouse. Getting divorced is easy. Removing your business partner is impossible. Story 197. Never let your new boyfriend's ex-girlfriend cut your hair. Story 198. If you are in a difficult marriage, it is okay to leave after you have exhausted every way to fix it. Love your children, be respectful to your former partner, but leave and find someone who makes you happy. There is only one life to live. Story 199. Fireworks are dangerous and can change your life in the blink of an eye. Story 200. Do not marry my ex. My second former partner, to be precise. My first former partner was acceptable, except for the cheating while I was overseas. Story 201. Opiates, even when prescribed, are never something you should take long-term. I learned that the hard way. Story 202. If you do a crash diet where you starve yourself to lose weight quickly while working out or doing cardio, your joints will suffer. Soft tissue like cartilage in your knees can wear away permanently. Diet more slowly, work out, and rest. Separate dieting and exercise into two different things, with dieting as the primary method for weight loss, not exercise. If your goal is to lose weight, the most important factor is the diet, not exercise. If you want to change the way your body looks, it probably means you still need to lose weight. Do not make it hard for yourself. Focus on dieting first and delay exercising until you feel ready. Story 203. You can never get back a moment of time, so use it wisely. Story 204. It is okay to walk away from truly negative, toxic people who drain your life force. This includes family members. I finally did it and feel so much better. Always surround yourself with people who lift you up and are supportive. They are your people. Story 205. Do not cram too many life changes into 1 year if you can help it. I got married, bought a house, and became pregnant in the same year. I do not regret it, and neither does my husband, but the stress was significant. Story 206. I did not learn this by myself but by watching others. A man is not a plan. Story 207. Love alone is not enough for a relationship to work. No matter how much you love someone, or even if you both love each other limitlessly, it is not enough. It takes effort, communication, compromise, affection, support, and much more for a relationship to last and be healthy and good. So next time you are in a relationship that is going poorly, please ask yourself if you are only staying in it for the love. Because if that is all there is and the rest is missing, it is not going to work. Story 208. Do not get married when there is a fundamental lack of physical attraction. The honeymoon period can compensate for some time, but once personality flaws start to show, the lack of physical attraction becomes overwhelming. Story 209. Your boyfriends or husband's friends are not and cannot be your close friends. If the relationship ends, they will remain loyal only to the original friend. Therefore, it is important to always have close personal friends outside of your boyfriend's or husband's social circle. Story 210. If you are going to try to get through life or anything in particular by lying, you need to be fully committed and know what you are doing. I am not talking about minor or justifiable lies. Hiding and frank, keeping a surprise party secret, and white lies are acceptable. 1. If you care about people and your lies end up hurting them, especially more than the truth, you will feel bad. This may seem obvious, but it is easy to believe your lie in the moment is not hurting anyone or that the truth is worse, only for the consequences to build up and be much worse than honesty would have been. Maybe you only lie at work. Maybe you are a lawyer and it is part of the job, but if you use lying as a tool, you should not care about the people you are using it on. It is difficult to accept that you do not like hurting people, but you keep hurting them. 2. Lies are not real. This may also seem obvious, but if you tell someone you have $10,000 when you actually have zero, that may solve problems temporarily, but you still have zero. It only delays the inevitable. Have a viable plan to deal with the issue. This can be powerful in politics or business. As an example, Stuart Feigen, Oracle's 5th employee, says, "There was no version 1 of Oracle software because everyone thought no one buys version 1. It is buggy. So we started with version 2. Our version 2 was at least as buggy as anyone's version 1. I described those early versions as the Roach Motel of databases. The data went in, but it did not come out. Oracle faked its quality and maturity and is now worth billions. But they delivered in the end. If it was all built on sand, they would have failed later." Enron is the opposite example. If you cannot back up your claims, everything will eventually fall apart. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.